Again, church family, it's good to be carrying on our series in Ruth. As Adam said at the start, such a timely book to be looking at. There's so much in it that will enrich us, will do us good. And as Adam spoke in the first week about God's careful, caring providence for us at all times, as Paul spoke last week so helpfully about his grace, his unmerited favor towards us, all those who put our trust in him, and shown to a family in need. Today in chapter 3, we're going to see something of God's immeasurable love. Chapter 3 it's like the long-awaited moment in a love story where two people finally declare themselves, where they finally speak up and see what the other person thinks about them, where they finally confess their feelings for each other. And in it we see selfless love. And in it we see as well echoes of an even greater love story. And so we're going to begin by reading through. One day, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, "My daughter, I must find a home for you, where you'll be well provided for. Now Boaz, with whose women you have worked, is a relative of ours. Tonight he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfume, and get dressed in your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you're there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he's lying, then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." "I will do whatever you say," Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. And when Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. In the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned, and there was a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm your servant Ruth," she said. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family." "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he replied. "This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. Although it's true that I am a guardian redeemer of our family, there is another who is more closely related than I am. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good, let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning." So she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before anyone could be recognized. Then he said, "No one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor." He also said, "Bring me the shawl you're wearing and hold it out." And when she did so, he poured into it 6 measures of barley and placed the bundle on her. Then he went back to town. When Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, "How did it go, my daughter?" Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her, and added, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.' And then Naomi said, 'Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled.'" We have in this chapter a deep need, a cunning plan, and a beautiful moment. We see, first of all, a deep need, because Ruth and Naomi are poor. Yes, they want providing for. Yes, but that's not all. Ruth would quite like a husband, because being a single woman, a widow in those times, was particularly difficult, but that is not all. The deep need here is that Naomi's family name has been cut off. And it means more to them than it does to us. Her husband, Elimelech, her 2 sons have all died. There are no more male heirs in their family line. Their family name is effectively at an end. And to us, that might just be sort of, that's a shame. But to them, it's a case of, it's almost akin to a curse in in their people's understanding. Throughout the Bible, you read the Old Testament, your family name being blotted out is repeatedly a curse that falls on people. Whereas your line carrying on, you're having descendants that go on carrying your name down the line is a sign of blessing. It's a sign of God's blessing upon you. Whenever people have sons who can carry on the family name, it's a sign of blessing. Your family continuing to be counted among the people of promise. And it's so important that there's legal provision that God had written into the Mosaic laws, the laws that they live by, to prevent this from happening for families. So there was the kinsman redeemer or the guardian redeemer, a man, a close relative of a deceased man, whose duty it was to step into his shoes, to marry the widow so that he could raise up offspring for his brother or his kinsman. And it's not just a case of you take a wife and you have children and so on. It's a case of any children that they bear are then going to, their name is going to be that of the deceased man. It's a big ask that's made of the guardian redeemer, and yet it's seen as a kind of a covenant responsibility. It's something that reflects God's righteousness and his care for people. It's important. There is a deep need there. And Naomi, in response to this deep need, has a cunning plan. She has seen Boaz's kindness towards Ruth, towards her, towards their family. She's seen Boaz's compassion for them, and she knows that Boaz is someone who could step into those shoes as a guardian redeemer. Their Savior is before them, but he hasn't spoken up yet. He hasn't offered his hand to Ruth. He's not sort of done what perhaps they might have expected him to do. But they see him before them, and there's this hope and this plan that's hatching in Naomi's heart. And my suspicion with Boaz is that he is probably a little bit older than Ruth. In the text, he refers to her as my child or my daughter when he speaks to her. And also when she finally makes this invitation to him, will you spread your garment over me, which is, there's nothing sort of illicit in that. It's really saying, would you do the duty of a guardian redeemer? Would you step into that gap? His response is, this kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. It's not just, okay, I'll do my duty. It's like, you've shown kindness to me by looking to me as one you might marry. And then in chapter 4, you'll see next week, Boaz sort of says at the end of this chapter, it's like, if the other guy will redeem you, then fine. If not, then I will. Wonderful. But in chapter 4, he sort of goes out of his way to make sure the other guy doesn't. Boaz is keen to marry Naomi, but I wonder if he hasn't sort of spoken up on it yet because he's a bit older than her and almost doesn't want to act on his impulses because he's just not sure. Is that fair on her? Is that, I don't know. But I feel there's certainly affection there in Boaz for her. There's certainly a deep respect for her. And so we see Naomi's scheme then, and it's really ambiguous exactly how Naomi intended this to go. It's really ambiguous. Certainly for Ruth, following Naomi's plan, going down to this place where the men sleep at night, this slightly rough place, to lie down at the feet of another man. There is danger to her safety. There is danger certainly to her reputation. Later on, Boaz says, no one must know a woman's come to the threshing floor. People will make assumptions. And I want to pause there just for a moment because this is a million miles from our culture's modern sexual ethic. This is not the way that we approach sex in our culture, and yet the message of the Bible applies just the same now as it did then. That we believe, as followers of Jesus, we believe that sex is not just for fun. Yes, it's wonderful. Yes, it's good. But it's to be enjoyed within the boundaries that God set for it. Committed marriage between one man and one woman. And that's not because we're against fun. It's not because we're against passion or romance. We are for those things. It's because sex is so much more precious than our culture gives it credit for. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're a follower of Jesus, to hear again the call of the Bible and the message of the Bible, to see to it that your attitude towards sex reflects God's attitude towards sex. It is for your good and the good of your children. Now, whatever Naomi's intentions were, however she thought this slightly risque plan might play out, Boaz and Ruth are a man and a woman of such character that could only ever go one way. And instead of anything sort of saucy going on, there is a moment of such restraint and tenderness and love and compassion. We have this beautiful moment. I don't know if you've ever exposed your heart to rejection. Whether it's asking someone to be your friend or to spend time with you. Whether it's romantic, asking someone to go to a dance or the prom with you, or asking someone, oh, will you go out with me? Or I like you, or will you marry me? And exposing your heart to rejection. Because you know how you feel, and you know that you're nervous, and you know how you're hoping that they'll respond, but you don't know until they speak up. And Ruth guesses and hopes how Boaz might respond, but she doesn't know until he speaks up. She places her heart in his hands, but as he answers, all her fears are washed away. His answer is so encouraging, so kind, and just as she has spoken to him, will you spread the corner of your garment over me? And she's saying that she's seen in him a picture of God's love, a picture of the love of God for his people, and she's saying to him, would you love me in that way? Would you show your kindness? Would you redeem me and my family? Would you take me as your wife? And she's looking for character, not just any man. She's not run after the younger men, rich or poor. She's run after Boaz. She's looking for character. And Boaz, likewise, he's not just looking for a bride. He's looking for a bride of noble character. And again, I would encourage you, if you are looking for marriage, that you would make godly character the thing that you look for first of all. Before anything else, look for character. You will never regret it. But these two, they've seen something in each other that's attractive, that's good, that's to be desired. And he says to her, yes, and it's not the end of the story. This business of the other redeemer needs to be sorted out, but it's such a beautiful moment. But I want us to see that it speaks of an even greater love story, of an even more wonderful moment, that there is another redeemer, and not the one that Boaz mentions, but the one that Boaz's whole life points to. It's one thing to ask another human being, would you commit yourself to me? Would you rescue me? Would you marry me? I want us to see that the story of the Bible is one where God himself steps into our lives to make exactly that invitation to us. Who could think to come before the Almighty, before perfection, and to ask for that sort of thing? It is vital that you understand that when we speak about the gospel, when we speak about trust in Jesus, when we speak about these things, we're not just trying to sell you a nicer way to spend the afterlife. Jesus, the Son of God, is looking for a bride. He is looking for a bride who is worthy of him. He is looking for a relationship, and not just any, but the deepest level of relationship. Looking for intimacy, and not sexual intimacy, and yet at the same time it's an intimacy that goes even further than that kind of union. It is an intimacy that is pure and profound and perfect. He is looking for knowing and being known. It's selfless, generous, depthless love that God offers you and calls you into. It's the kind of love that makes you sing and dance and cry aloud because you can't believe how good you've got it. It's the kind of love that God is calling you into. Deep, deep, true relationship with him. He's looking not for servants, but for a bride. And he has set his heart on the church. Over and over throughout the Bible, we see it in Ephesians chapter 5, we see it in Revelation, we see it in Isaiah 54 verse 5. Your maker is your husband, the Lord Almighty is his name. The Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. He is called the God of all the earth. His love is the deepest, the richest, the most wonderful love that you could ever know. It can't be shut off or turned away because of anything you've done or anything you'll yet do, because he knows and he still loves you. He's way ahead of you. And Boaz redeems Ruth at cost to himself. Jesus redeems us at cost to his own life. His is the love that holds no good thing back from his beloved. His is the love that says, for my beloved's sake, I will even lay my body on the line. I will go to the cross and die in her place. And dear friends, you are his beloved. You are his beloved. Ruth approaches Boaz, hoping and longing but uncertain. You know, I'm poor, I'm from a nation, the Moab nation, that's at odds with Boaz's nation. I'm a widow, I have so little to offer. With Jesus, we are even more empty-handed than Ruth. We come poor, we come sinful, we come enemies of God, we come estranged with nothing to offer. He looks at our characters and they're nothing like his. They're not a bride fitting for him, and yet these are the ones that Jesus has set his heart on. Are we poor? He shares his riches with us. Are we unclean? He will make us clean. Are we filthy with a stain that no soap could remove? He will wash us with his own blood. Ruth approaches Boaz with uncertainty. She waits for him to speak. Not so with Jesus. He has already spoken. Are you still waiting for a sign that he will not reject you? You have it. Come see the cross and find him there, our Saviour dying on the tree. Who's loved so much that God would bear all this to set them free? Come see the nails, his hands, his feet, his love so bright and true. For whom does his great heart so beat? Dear heart, it beats for you. Of course, you're not fit to be a part of his bride. Jesus will make you fit. If you believe in him, he has cleaned you, he has clothed you, he has called you by name. He welcomes you into the kind of love that your heart was made for. Will you come to him? Like Ruth washed herself, dressed herself, will you come and be baptized? Washed clean in Jesus' name as you put your trust in him for now and for eternity. And if you belong to him already, are you living as one who is preparing for the wedding at the end of the universe? Are you spending time getting to know the bridegroom? Are you spending time with him to know what pleases him and what delights him and what moves his heart? Are you getting good time with him? Are you asking for his help to live as one who's dressing themselves for the wedding feast? When a bride prepares for her wedding day, she doesn't stop by a few mud pits on the way. She wants to keep herself clean and pure. Are you seeking to live in a way that's pure, that honors God and all that he asks of us? Or are you still stopping by the old mud pits? Maybe just dipping your toes in, but when it comes to sex, when it comes to handling the truth or distorting it, when it comes to the way that you treat others or the way that you treat money or the things that you watch, are you preparing yourself for the wedding day? Have you realized what this is? The hugeness of what God has called you to. how he has set his heart on you for all time. I'm going to ask the band to come back up now. But dear friends, please, I want to encourage you. This is not some social club to just come and enjoy the company. This is not just a pleasant way to spend this life or a pleasant way to spend the life after the Son of God is preparing a people for his bride. We don't know when the wedding day is coming. It could be today. Dear friends, are you ready? Come to him. If we were together, I would love to finish by taking communion. And though we're not all together in one building, you may want to do so all the same at home. Take some bread, take some drink. And as we do so, we take bread and wine as a reminder, as a token, as a symbol of the price that our guardian Redeemer paid for us. Bread and wine, body and blood, broken and spilled to set us free, but also as a token, a foretaste of the wedding feast that's coming. Dear friends, would we live as those who are making ourselves ready for that day? God bless you.
While Our time this morning is at an end. If God has spoken to you and anything that's gone on in today's meeting has resonated, please reach out to those guys in your running partners or in your discipleship groups, or you can email the church, email care@wearekingsgate.org, and somebody would love to be able to connect with you and pray with you and talk through the things that God has spoken to you about today. We now have the opportunity to join the Zoom call. Jan is in control of the room delegations today, so she'd love you to join you. Details hopefully are on screen now. Join in, have a chat, speak to those people that you know and love as part of the church family. God bless you all, take care, and we'll see you same time next week. Take care, bye-bye.